Okay, one of the biggest situations that causes most people problems for any kind of travel they do is they don't they're not really capable of forming a strategy. And the reason why they can't form a strategy is normally because of the smartphone. The smartphone has got to be one of the most dumbing down things I've ever seen in my life. Now I've got like four smartphones, and I'm actually have a smartphone right here, and then I have one that I'm making a video with. Each one is a tool, okay? But to use the right tool is intelligence. To not know how to use your tools is just normal, okay? So I'm talking to the 5% that can understand strategies. Okay, so I'm planning a trip to Colombia, Panama. Let's see, where else am I going? The Darien Gap. I'm going to go back to Guatemala. I'm going to go to Tampa, Monterey, California, then to Indiana. So I got this kind of elongated trip. And that's not normally the way I travel, okay? But what the problem is, to have a strategy, you start out with the big picture and then you work your way down to the small picture or the tactics, okay? Most people only concentrate on the tactics and they forget the objective. I just was reading Outlive by Peter Attia, and he's really good at understanding the concepts of strategy, objective, strategies, and tactics. Okay, good book to read if you want to understand more about strategy. Supposedly, according to the U.S. government, only 7% of the population this is the U.S. military, can intrinsically, inherently, of their own will, create a strategy. So I try to give strategies for you to copy. I was going to write a book on strategies, and I finally realized that only about 4% would actually even understand it without almost a class. Okay, what I'm doing right now is a visual. Okay, you got hearing, you got your senses, right? Maybe 5 or 6 senses, right? Eyes, ears, mouth, touch. Okay, but when you create, when you double or triple up your senses, things get easier. So sometimes one way to do this is I can read this and I can see it. I can hear it. If I read it out loud, I can hear it. Talking is a different type of thing, but it's kind of one of the senses. But the more senses involved in something, the better you are at remembering. And that's why learning a language is better with an immersion, because you can get all these 5 senses involved in one word. Okay, so I want a visual, and I'm going to call this the Sherlock Holmes elementary television show tactics. I call it the Sherlock Holmes, right? If you watch the television show, which is absolutely genius, it's about a genius, okay? All his strategies and how he does things is just brilliant, okay? And one of his strategies is to create a visual. So what he does is he puts these pictures up to solve the crimes. I have visuals everywhere, and there's 2 different kinds, really. One is to try to understand the big picture and try to see how everything's connected. So what I did is I made it. I didn't have a calendar where I could see like 5 months at one time. And how do you plan something when you can't do it? I mean, flipping back and forth in pages is not a great tactic. Okay, that's a really wrong way to do it. It's better to see one big visual. Now, if I was back in the United States, I would have had a big whiteboard up here, and I would be drawing on the whiteboard. But I don't. Okay, so I made my own thing. I got February, March, April, May, June, July, and these are the next 5 months? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months that I have to deal with. Okay, so what I did is I'm going to leave for Medellin. I've actually committed to buy a plane ticket with Expedia. I normally search on Kayak with 3 days before and 3 days after. And then I normally try to buy on Expedia. Okay, so I'm leaving for Medellin. It's about a, $100 plane ticket with 1 carry-on, okay, which is kind of a bonus. I have to help Mona through the 27th to the 5th. I have to help her. She's getting on a cruise ship. And so I'm trying to make myself available for those days because she's been very generous and I kind of give her a little consulting in a way. Okay, but Darien Gap is, I'm going to go through it through the 8th to 20th. Now, what is the problem with this? If anything changes, it goes up and down. Okay, so everything just moves right down. So if for some reason I took a month to go through the Darien Gap for some strange reason, and I believe I could go through the Darien Gap in 2 days. I think the roads are, I think everything's, all the transportation's prepared. They might be a bribe, but I can go through the Darien Gap. This is the strip of land where there is no actual road between Panama and Colombia. And it's considered like a no man's land, like a dangerous thing. But supposedly, 500,000 immigrants, like Haitian, Venezuela, different people have been traveling through this to get to the United States. Okay, but I want to go see what it is. And one reason I'm going is because I've thought about going in the past, but it's just kind of a lonely trip, right? If it took me 3 weeks, it could be really just kind of boring. I think if there's a lot of immigrants going through there, it should be kind of fun. Okay, but what is the goal of my life? My goal is the primary purpose or the prime directive of travel is to enjoy yourself. Okay, I was going to go to Panama, hang out, then go fly, and it just became too cluttered when I put it on this trip. So I've been telling people I was going to fly to Panama, wait for people to come out of the Darien Gap, talk to them, and do it. But the cost like doubled, and everything became more complicated, and I started not having enough leakage space, extra space. When you plan a trip, you need buffer zones. Okay, so I want to have like a week to 10 days buffer between any decision I make. So actually, I'm only buying one ticket right now. Okay, I only bought the one to Medellin. When I get to the Darien Gap and I have a good feeling on how long it's going to take to get through there, I'll probably buy the ticket from. I'll fly from Panama to Guatemala, and I'm estimating it to be the 23rd of April. Okay, so you can see that this visual really helps. Okay, but the bigger problem is it's on a continuum and it goes up and down and everything changes. And I'm always laughing when I made my vest. I got this vest with 20, 30 some pockets in it. I got big pockets on the inside because the European travelers will actually get reservations for 25 hotels, okay, which means they are working. Okay, the prime directive of travel is to take the time and enjoy and smell the roses as you do something. This is the opposite. This is a checklist tourist. When they have everything laid out from beginning to end, they're doing travel just like they do their job, okay, or they do their schoolwork or whatever. So they're basically obeying the boss and not creating the trip. So the art of travel is to create the trip. There is actually a movie called The Art of Travel, and the guy goes through the Darien Gap in a 4-wheel drive. And I think you can go through it in a 4-wheel drive. But all the aid organizations are settling on this area because it's a high profit area. What I'm saying is that they can get donations for all this real easy. I better shut off the internet so I don't get any calls. Okay, so this is the visual. So what I've got here, this is actually all the plane trips and all the tentative. Strategy is not something you lock in. A checklist traveler is somebody that locks in. You go on a tour so you don't have to think, so they have the strategy. The greatest reason to have a tour is they create the strategy. The bad part about tours is they will avoid the difficult things. Okay, like going to Tikal. Tikal is one of the most, I would say the number probably 2 archaeology sites on the planet, right after the Egyptian pyramids. And very few travelers actually go there, okay, because they are obeying, actually right now they're obeying the shuttle and they're on a track with the shuttle trip. And they don't even realize because nobody's using guidebooks anymore. And the smartphone has made people incredibly dumb. Okay, I almost don't want to talk to somebody when they only have a smartphone, especially if they're going to talk about buying a plane ticket. I go, okay, I'll do something else. When you buy a plane ticket, I have 2 computers. When I buy a plane ticket, I can open up 10 tabs. Okay, so I opened up all the tabs and I saw right around $100, and I'm not taking my bag with me. Why? Well, to go through the Darien Gap, I want to be as light as possible. So I have just my day bag, and I'll sew it up, and I'll put some. I'm going to put some tie rings on there, tabs on it, so I can tie a bundle on the bottom, so like a roll, and then I can expand it. And when I get to, well, actually, I can carry everything I need. But the thing is, I don't know what I need. So you got to be able to expand or decrease the size. But I need to be able to walk, maybe. Okay. So taking into consideration all the variables. Now, what the I got all these idiots that are sending me about these military guys and whatever. Military people are not very good by themselves. Some special forces people are. If they're special forces, maybe a sniper, they can operate solo. But most military people just obey everybody up and down the command, and they got this great support system, and they're not really that good at strategies. Only maybe 1 in 100 military people is actually, in my opinion, capable of traveling. Why? When you travel alone, free range, there's nobody to help you, right? And that's a whole different thing than when you have the military backing you up. But a lot of these guys are always making things a catastrophe. And Michael Crichton, in his one book, State of Fear or something, he talks about this what they've done in the world right now in the last, I suppose the last 40, 50 years, they made everything a catastrophe. Everything's the end of the world. And that's just not true, okay? The world changes. So when I first could have went through the Darien Gap maybe 25 years ago, 24 years ago, it would have been much more difficult than now. And if there's that many, okay, contrary to what you think, the immigrants going through there are not poor, okay? They got to pay like $12,000 to go across Mexico, okay? So they have to have a lot of money to travel from Venezuela, Haiti, Colombia, anywhere, South America, all the way to the United States border to cross illegally. It costs a lot of money because the coyotes are very strong. Okay, so this is my visual. Right, here's this. And then what I'll do is I'll print this out and I'll make copies. And I might even send it to my sisters and brothers and family and friends, because it's always nice to have somebody know what I'm doing, okay? I would send it to people that normally, if I needed some major situation, could provide assistance. Otherwise, I'm just scaring them to death, right? I was National Geographic Explorer Top 10 Travel Blogger. Okay, so this is my thing, but I'm going to show you another one of my, I have 6 of these in the room, and this just lists out the vitamins and supplements that I wish to take daily. Why? What happens is that you have to crystallize and take what you want to do and put it from a thought into a concrete visual reality. And by making this, I got cinnamon, cod liver oil, coconut oil, dark chocolate, flaxseed, ginger. These are foods that I consider supplements. Some of them are probably, ashwagandha is probably, ashwagandha I would call, I don't know, kind of a pill, right? Everything else is just natural. Okay, But these things are to supplement my body to make it stronger. So I have it posted. I have 6 different topic sheets like this, and I'm going to put them in plastic when I finally feel like I'm never changing them, okay? But I change them a lot. So these things evolve. Over here on the wall is, right here is my inventions. Up here on the top is inventions. Right here is my weight. I have a scales that I weigh myself daily. The electronic ones do a lot better than the, what do you call it? But the plastic ones with the, well, the ones with the glass tops on are way too heavy to carry with you. I'm probably going to be carrying this with me for the rest of my life because my health has to be #1 priority. But then I go over here and I write down my weight. So right now I've lost 5 pounds in the last 13 days. Okay, I need to get down to fighting weight, and I've decided to be very serious. But visual can't be hidden. And this is the goal. You don't want to hide, because what happens is the brain looks at these things and it sort of analyzes it. And it creates some question marks, like some things it doesn't quite understand, so it sort of thinks about it. And you just let your subconscious work for you, okay? I just let my subconscious do all my work. And then what I'm doing, I'm walking down the road, and all of a sudden I go, and then I pull out my smartphone, I get on the Google Docs, and I take a note, or I get on Google Keeps, and or Google Sheets, and I add information to the thing, and my ideas always evolve. If I don't have my smartphone on me, I can always pull out an index card and write it down. Okay. When I first started doing this thing, it was completely by index card. I made some folders that were just little small folders so I could just put my index cards in. I had like, I don't know, 40, 50 of them on my desk. When I worked on a project, I just pulled it out, went through the notes, and you took a subconscious idea and put it into reality, okay? You took it from your subconscious mind. The biggest fault most people have is they believe that they are God, okay? That they can remember every single thing. I sometimes say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. For people that have learned this as a kid, they can say it, but generally the average person cannot repeat that. When you're learning a language, it's about getting it into the 5 senses: hearing, eyes. So I write it down, I say it out loud, I repeat it, I do different things. I get my eyes looking at it, I hear it, I speak it, I feel it. Okay. The more senses you have in anything, the better you will understand it. And this is what I'm always trying to teach, if nothing else, even if you're a complete ding-a-ling, if you get out a piece of paper and write it down, you are smarter than a genius. A piece of paper does not forget. When a person never writes nothing down, I know they think they're God, okay? If they're trying to learn a language, I was talking to this guy, Mark, the other day, and I said, we don't know anybody that's ever learned a language doing Duolingo. The only way I've ever seen anybody learn a language is you got 2 types of people. You got naturals. They're like me on a computer. I just look at a computer, I look at construction work, and I can do it. No repetition needed. One time, boom, it's printed in my brain. But Spanish, French, Russian, Thai, I got to write down the word, okay? And then I often record the word and have it repeated. I can listen to it over and over and over again, because truly learning a language is mostly, okay, the only people almost that come to foreign countries are people that are naturally good at language. Everybody else is afraid of languages. So that's about 95% of the people that won't go travel because they never learned a language. They never could try to learn a language. Their teacher basically didn't understand the pedagogical theory of learning a language, and they were a natural, and they think everybody learns the same as them. It's really kind of rote memory, but that can be painful, right? but I learn every single word in a type of rote memory. Okay, but same thing here. What I want to do when I look at this wall on my inventions, I want to make beef jerky. I want to make a leg support. I want to make, let's see, can't read it. Byron sound thing. I need, well, I have a bunch of them. And so when I think of one of these, I add to it. But I'm always working on projects. Right now, I'm going to work on taking. I'm not retrofitting, but I'm taking the bathroom in my room and I'm converting it from a lot of little problems to no problems, or best I can, so that I can show what I can do for a hotel owner. Hotel owners are not very good at maintenance. To own real estate or to think, you need to be a construction person. Okay, if you can't do construction, the value of not being able to do it is you will delegate. Okay, and some people that are the best in real estate delegate everything. Some problem with the really good construction peoples, they won't delegate. I delegate everything if I can, and I know when a good job's done. But that is the ability to know who's doing a good job is because I'm good at construction. I can fix anything but a broken heart. Okay, so this is my elementary type wall. Go watch the television Elementary. It's for the brilliant. It's a brilliant show. It's for there's shows that are specifically for the intellectual set. Okay, and I'm Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? Okay, but just one of the ways that I plan out my future. When I get to the United States, I'm going to go camping. I'm going to try to stay 14 days in 2 state parks close to me, mainly so that I can give my sisters the freedom to live without me being there. But if I'm in close proximity to my sisters, they actually see me as real, okay? When I'm here, they don't actually take me serious. They don't think about me. They basically, I'm not part of their life. So if I'm in a state park 10 miles away, I'm part of their life. And that's the goal for the last, 100, say for the last 50 years of my life, I'm going to make sure that I return to USA so I can know what's going on with my country. I'm losing track of my country because the media is worthless, okay? I open up 100 different news pages just to try to understand what's going on in the United States, because one will lie about this way, there's almost no truth whatsoever. They often call even 500 years ago, they called the press the fourth estate. The fourth estate that tries to run the world, okay? So right now, the corporations and the press are running the United States by trying to hurt people and cancel them. And so people are afraid to tell the truth because if anybody, they twist it any way they can. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I tell the truth. That's the value of Andy Lee Graham. I've traveled to 114 countries and traveled over 25 years. In the 1st of March, it'll be 26 years. I've paid for all my travels by either making YouTube videos or by writing. I've written almost 10,000 books. Anybody that feels like I should stay making a living and stay traveling, it's getting harder to travel because COVID-19 stopped almost 90% of international travel. And it is still stopped, okay? Very little international travel. Yes, they go to the big places, Paris, Lake Atitlan, Guatemala, only the top tourist locations are getting any kind of thing. I was in Costa Rica, nobody. Nicaragua, 0. Okay, I'm here and you're not, why not? It's because I continually adapt and think of strategies. I'm Andy Lee Graham. Hit that subscribe button and get on the Patreon and try to support me. So anybody that would wish that I stay talking to them. I'm going to make it so that very few people can actually get to me unless they are a Patreon person. Why? I need to talk with people that are supporting me. I mean, what happens is most of the people that are writing me are trying to get me to agree with that their silly comment, their silly idea is a good thing. And I tell the truth, then all I do is make an enemy. So I might as well start out with the people that are actually on Patreon because they want to be my friend. Okay? The others just want to prove that they're smart. This is the nature of social networks. Everybody gets on there not to learn. They get on there to try to tell people what they know, to try to one-up everybody. And I finally decided that social networks are just as evil. They're pretty evil. Okay, there's some value. I mean, you can follow some very big, famous people pretty easy, but this idea of making comments for a famous person and never read, come on. I don't read my comments. That's the reason why I got rid of them. It's like I don't even want to deal with this. I don't need to read 40 comments to get one great idea. That's not a good mining venture on knowledge. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? Hit the subscribe and go sign up for Patreon if you ever want to talk to me in real life.